The candles flickered as if caught in her emotion, before she blew them out with a breath that carried years of heartbreak and a love far greater than her age. It was Emily's 10th birthday, and the living room was filled with laughter, balloons, and the scent of freshly baked chocolate cake. Yet, the person she wanted most to celebrate with, the person whose happiness meant everything, stood quietly in the corner, half present in the room, and fully lost in grief. Her father, Adam Blake, hadn't smiled in almost a year. A year ago, Adam's world collapsed in the time it takes a text to go unread and a car to run a red light. His wife, Sarah, and Emily had gone out to pick up groceries and ice cream. Sarah never made it home. The truck was speeding. Sarah died on impact. Emily survived. But Adam didn't. Not really. He went to work. He made Emily breakfast. He did laundry. He showed up. But his heart didn't. Not since that night, and Emily noticed. She stopped asking him to sing lullabies. He hadn't hummed a tune in months. She stopped showing him her drawings. His eyes always looked past them. She stopped expecting birthday parties. But this year, her grandparents insisted. So she sat at the table, surrounded by relatives and a cake lit with 10 glowing candles. Everyone cheered. But all she saw was her father's shadow against the wall, staring blankly at a photo of Sarah on the mantel. They told her to make a wish, and so she did. That night, while the house grew quiet and plates of cake remained untouched on the counter, Emily slipped into her father's room. He sat at the edge of the bed staring at nothing. "Dad," she whispered, holding a crumpled envelope. Adam blinked slowly and looked up. "Yeah, baby. I wrote you something." He hesitated, then reached for the envelope. She didn't stay. She turned and walked back to her room, her tiny feet muffled by the carpet, her small hand still sticky from frosting. Alone, Adam opened the letter. "Dear Daddy, I didn't wish for a doll or a bike or a puppy today. I just wished you'd be happy again. Not pretend happy, real happy, like when you danced in the kitchen with Mom, like when you made Saturday pancakes with music on and syrup everywhere. I miss her too, every day. But sometimes I feel like I lost you both. I know I'm little, but maybe you could try smiling once a day. Just once. For me. Then maybe 2 smiles next week, and maybe you could read my bedtime story like you used to. Or sing the spaghetti song again, even if it's silly. I just want you back. That's all I want. Love, Emily." Adam didn't cry often anymore. The grief had turned to a cold numbness that left no room for tears. But that night, he wept, not quietly, not silently. He wept with the pain of a man who realized he had been standing in the ashes of his own life, too afraid to rise from the wreckage. He wept for Sarah. He wept for Emily. And he wept for himself, for the version of him he buried next to his wife. The next morning, Emily woke up to the scent of something unfamiliar. Something warm. Pancakes. She tiptoed into the kitchen. There he was. Adam, wearing an apron that still had Sarah's lipstick stain on the collar, holding a pan in one hand, a spatula in the other, and humming the spaghetti song. "Hey, birthday girl," he said with a soft smile. Her eyes widened. "You smiled." He knelt down and hugged her tight. "I'm going to try, baby. Every day." Over the next few weeks, Adam kept his promise. At first, it was hard. The grief still clung to him like a winter coat he didn't know how to take off. But Emily became his sunshine. Her laughter was his medicine. He started drawing with her again. They painted clouds and stars and silly family portraits with Sarah watching from above. One day, Emily asked to visit the cemetery. Adam was hesitant, but he agreed. They brought flowers, Sarah's favorite lilies. Emily placed them gently by the grave, then looked up at the sky. "She liked when you wore the red shirt," she said quietly. Adam smiled and nodded. "She hated that it shrunk in the dryer." They laughed. For the first time in a year, they laughed there. In the place where sorrow used to scream, laughter now whispered its return. But healing isn't a straight path. One night, Adam came home from work exhausted and irritable. He snapped at Emily when she spilled juice on the floor. Her lips trembled. She whispered, "I'm sorry," and ran to her room. Later that night, he found her asleep clutching a drawing. It was a picture of them, holding hands, a sun above them, a small speech bubble over Adam's head that read, "I'm trying." He sat beside her, tears tracing his cheeks. He whispered, "I'm sorry too," and tucked her in. The next morning, pancakes returned, with extra syrup. Months passed. The house grew lighter, not because Sarah's absence was forgotten, but because her memory no longer weighed them down. It lifted them up. They celebrated her birthday by watching her favorite movie and baking the cake she used to love. They visited her grave with letters and laughter. Adam even joined a support group where he told his story for the first time. At one session, someone asked, "What made you want to start healing?" He paused, then answered, "My daughter made a wish, and I realized I was the only one who could make it come true." 1 year after Emily's 10th birthday, a different scene unfolded. The same living room. New balloons. A bigger cake, more laughter. This time, Adam stood by her side as she held the candlelit cake before her. "Make a wish," someone shouted. She smiled and looked up at her dad. "No need," she said softly. "My wish came true." Moral messagey: sometimes the greatest gifts aren't the ones wrapped in paper, but the ones wrapped in love, presence, and healing. Grief is a storm, but even the darkest clouds part when we hold on to those who remain and choose, one smile at a time, to live again.